Guys, it's finally time to get some coaching on Calico from the man, the myth, the legend himself, Skeleton Honey.
That's me. Yeah. Yeah. That's me. Yeah.
Yes, dude. I don't think I've ever spoken to you actually in a call before.
Yeah. Not in.
We've just spoken in chats.
Like this. Yeah.
It's interesting. How are you, man?
I'm doing pretty well. How are you?
I'm also doing pretty well. Went to the gym today. Feeling
Nice.
good. But okay, so for the people that don't know, which everybody should know, who is Skeleton Honey, and why are you the man for the job for getting MVP on Calico?
Because I've played a lot of Calico. I think I've got over 1,000 games on her, and I've been in Eterna 6 for like 6-ish months now.
Holy.
So I can crank it on Calico on occasion.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. So, chat, I know you guys know that I play Melee Calico and whatnot, but Skeleton Honey is known as being one of the best. I think you were rank 1 Calico, right?
Are you still ranked 2? I was ranked 2 Calico for a bit because I think Ido was playing Calico for a while.
Nah, but he's not a true Calico player. He's not a true Calico fan.
No.
Okay.
No way.
So yeah, but you don't play Melee Calico. You mainly play Spirit, right?
Yeah, it's sort of hybrid right now. You definitely do both. I think your gun damage is too strong to ignore. So you kind of do both. But yeah, late game you're going for Spirit Nuke usually, for sure.
Heck yeah. Okay, what would you say are the biggest spikes for Spirit Calico, or your version of Calico right now?
I mean, every Calico hits a pretty strong spike when they get their Arctic Blast. I think
That's true.
Arctic Blast is pretty good. All of a sudden, your Gloom Bombs become a lot more consistent. That's big damage. Gun Spike early is usually pretty big. If you can move towards it sooner rather than later, that's also big.
Why is Gun Spike so good on this version of Calico, would you say?
Just because she's got one of the best guns in the game, early and late. It actually scales really well too. So I think early game she's already got some decent trades against most of the heroes, and then once you have your gun spike, it just makes it that much easier.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. What would you say is the best build to go right now for hybrid Spirit Calico that you play?
Yeah, I'd probably say Ido build is usually the best in terms of aggressive hybrid damage.
So you think Ido's build would be the best to get me MVP?
Yes. I mean, honestly, I was playing your Melee Calico, and it's not bad. I mean, I definitely think you can play it into High Eternus. I was killing tons of people with melees.
Heck yeah.
So,
okay.
Although we do got to talk about your AP. I am in a big disagreement with your AP.
Okay, let's talk about it.
Okay. So, first off, I got to break it to you. I think Leaping Slash is Calico's worst ability by far. I think spending any AP on this ability right now is not good.
For a melee build?
Yes, even for melee. Even for a slash build, in fact, I would recommend nobody build slash. Couple reasons why.
Okay.
First off, Gloom Bomb's melee shred is going to be more damage for sure than going all the way to 8 AP for the 60 extra damage.
But it's not consistent to land all of those Gloom Bombs.
True. But just 60 extra damage is just not very good. And the ability doesn't scale very well. So if you really want to scale your melee damage and your slashing, you go for Gloom Bombs. Also, tier 2 Return from Shadows is extremely, extremely good right now. So I think you should always be getting that on any Calico build anyway, because it's literally 150 extra damage. That's nuts. That's like 3 slashes. That's 3 tier 3 slashes for the price of 2 AP.
Okay.
And the tier 1 is 25 HP. That is a quarter of life strike, bro. It's a quarter of life strike. If you wait and get the 2 AP upgrade in Ava, you're getting 50% of that value every second forever. So the 1 AP of Leaping Slash is terrible. The tier 3 of Leaping Slash is terrible. And what about the heroes? Hero killed with it in 3 seconds gives you 200 souls. It's 3 seconds.
Yeah.
You know how long your ult lasts? 3 seconds. So unless you kill people with the first proc of your ult on your combo, you won't get it. The second proc, you won't get the money.
Well, here's my counter argument. That's exactly why you level up Leaping Slash, so that you can hit your 2 a second time in 50% cooldown reduction when you hit the first one. And so then it resets the cooldown, so then you get the $200. Still.
Could be.
But okay. I like the way you're thinking here.
Listen, I'm not saying you're gonna lose every game if you build Slash. I just think even if you're building melee and Slash, you'll feel more powerful if you build tier 2 Ava, tier 2 ult, and then do tier 3 Gloom Bombs. I think you just want to save Leaping Slash for last every time. I think the APs are just like, they're not worth it. They're just not worth it at all.
Chat is saying, preach, brother, Truk. LARPing slash. Okay. Whatever, dude.
I just think you should try it, because I think even for a Slash build, like the numbers are just not good. They're really tough.
Okay.
It's like you can also save your Slash to finish people off, but you want to use your Slash early to gap close and do more shotgun damage and hit more Gloom Bombs.
Okay, so
like saving Slash for finishing kill, which does 60 damage base. Holy, wow, wow. Like, I don't know. It just doesn't seem feasible.
Okay, so should I try just my build with a different AP order first? And if that doesn't work, then we go? Okay, let me share my screen. Are you streaming, by the way, or no?
I'm not right now.
Okay.
I'll be locked in.
This is interesting. You're the first person that's, like, gone in depth about my AP order. But it's interesting. I'm always willing to, like, brainstorm what could be better. Okay, so let's figure out this AP order, and then we'll get into the game.
Okay, so you unlock Slash Gloom, Ava,
Oh, this is going to be fun.
and then tier 2 Ava, tier 2 ult.
No time to make biscuits today, Ava. We have work to do.
And then I think usually it feels better to get Gloom Bombs tier 3 before tier 3 ult.
We're going with tier 3?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Time to earn
I
my
think you
keep.
get that nearly when you get Arctic Blast.
Okay.
Which would be good. And then tier 3 ult, tier 3 Ava, and then
I
tier 3
always
Slash.
have an escape.
Holy.
No slashing.
Holy.
Slashing up. Yeah.
For my melee build, we're not doing this. Okay, no, let's see it. I'm down. I'm literally down.
I also don't know if Spirit Snatch is good at that point in time.
So what are you thinking then?
I think it would probably be better for you to get your gun spike sooner. I feel like yeah, that could work.
Yeah? That's what we're going with?
I think I like that a lot more. I'm still on the fence about Spirit Snatch in general. I think it's just
Really?
like, I don't know. It's okay.
It's okay.
But I think that'll feel stronger. I think the gun spike is definitely way stronger earlier. You'll be able to start the...
And you think Hunter's Aura is better than Point Blank here?
They're pretty close. It's probably comp dependent, but I don't know. I think if you're against more shooting characters, you would want Hunters sooner.
Okay. And this is more against fast moving / melee people?
Yeah, have you ever considered restorative locket? Is that something you ever think about?
No.
Because that's an HMC.
Well, okay, no, I have thought about that and I have tried it, and I was like, I mean, that is good in the middle of a fight, but like heavy melee canceling, I think in Eternus people are parrying so often that you don't even really need to like heavy melee cancel in high Eternus because everybody's just parrying all the time.
Yeah, not really. You can usually just get people to parry by being close to them.
Yeah, literally. So that's why I don't even use Fleetfoot anymore. But okay, I'm here. I'm here for the build. Let's see this. Skeleton Honey, coach me on Melee Calico. Let's see if we can get MVP here. Chat, y'all can hear the game, right? Make sure y'all can hear Skeleton as well. Excited, bro. I'm excited. I've never been coached on Calico before.
Well, I'm sure you'll have a lot of it down. I'll probably be coaching you more on non-Calico
I
stuff.
always get.
Oh, I'm flattered. Time to shake.
All right, well, let's hopefully we get Calico this game. Glass cannon first item. I'm not doing that. Numbers don't lie. RDB. Okay. No, I'm here. I'm literally right here. You said spike early. I mean, if I get point blank before hunters, that would be even faster because it'd be cheaper because I already have close quarters. I could try
I
to.
think my variation of your build, I think I went melee, lifesteal, stalker. I think I got stalker, hunters as my spike, and then I got melee charge after that.
Okay.
Well, I think this should still be. I think you're much better than me at melee, so I think you should be able to utilize melee charge more than I would be.
Okay. Well, let's see. Let's see it. Ooh. I'm excited, man. I'm excited. Man, thank you for doing this. By the way, this is good stuff.
Of course, I love the content. I watch every short. Every time it comes up, I'm like, yes. See you later. I'm ready for the see you later.
See you later. I do be saying that.
It's fucking tough.
Yo. Okay. Excited. Hopefully, can we get into a game, please? I want to see if this is, if I've been LARPing the whole time, maxing my 2 first.
It's just they took away its scaling, bro. It was good before when the scaling was good, but they took it all away.
Yeah, they
so
did
it's
do
just
that.
like by the time when you finally upgrade it to tier 3, it's already too late. Like the scaling is like everybody's already outscaling you because it's just so bad. Late game, like in a 40-minute game, the slashes aren't even doing 400 damage, bro. Yeah. Everybody's bullets are doing 100 damage each by then.
Yeah.
It's just so tough.
It's actually really bad. But, you know, it's like good movement. I hit it. I can stay on top of somebody.
Yeah, like listen, it's not throwing the game to upgrade it. I just think
comparatively,
stronger.
Comparatively. Because like if I just hit my 2. Yeah. Okay. It's fine. No, it doesn't even matter. I didn't even want to check it. Hey, okay, we got Calico. Let's see.
Let's go.
Let's see how this. Okay. Oh, what about lanes? What lane do you usually like to be in? Or does that not matter?
I don't really worry about it.
Interesting. I personally like the mid lane. I feel like I can roam to either side lane as fast as possible. Do you roam early or not?
If it's there. You just want to be checking to see if how the other lanes are doing. Like for example, on the left side, Warden's very easy to catch. You know. So if he's overextending often, you can look for him. Whereas the people on the right side, Vindicta's easy to kill. So if you're going either side, those are your targets. You just want to check if those characters are playing dangerously.
Okay. Warden.
I would stay up with your 7 if he's staying. If he's staying to harass them, I'd stay and try and steal some.
Oh, okay. So you wouldn't buy your.
Not if he's staying. If he's staying to harass, you should probably stay and help him out. Or tell him to make sure that he knows he's alone standing at the top of the stairs. You can ping him to buy.
Right.
No, yeah, you could buy right now, but I just mean like...
I'm about to buy.
Yeah.
I'm about to buzz.
Heck yeah.
I just mean if he's standing at the top of the stairs, he's really vulnerable, so you don't want to leave him alone. So you either tell him that you want to go buy and then do that, or you stay with him. But I mean, he should have bought an item. I don't know why he's not buying anything.
Ridiculous.
Sage is really strong first 3 minutes. Yes! Holy shit!
Crank 'em!
Fucking easy. Crank.
I like that that's the word that you use whenever you heavy melee. You're cranking him.
Cranking him.
Okay. I'm buying.
Cranky.
You're cranky.
So it looks like they are kind of low on the right. It looks like they're. I wouldn't gank now, but
Leaping.
just looking at health bars, it looks like enemy green lane is losing their trades. So
Yeah,
that would be
looking
something
good
to
over
keep your
there.
eye out for when you get Ava.
Actually, might really like saving up for Ava instead of getting.
They took out 7.
No, I'm so bad at the game.
All good. It's all good. Jesus Christ! What are they throwing their parry at you for? Have they not learned?
It's all conditioning, my friend. You condition him to play a certain way.
How many more reps do they need to fucking meat grinder? It's not a good idea.
Holy. Would you ever go back to spawn in a situation like this, or would you sit in
No,
Ava?
no. If you now that you've got your Ava sustain, you never go back.
Okay.
You're getting 17 HP regen a
Yeah,
second.
yeah,
Just
I'm
box a
going
little
up
bit.
right now. I'm going
Yeah.
up.
This is what's really good about the Ava early. Is like you got permanent
Stroll.
uptime now.
Yeah.
So now you really look for ganks a lot. But you got to make sure you don't leave the 7 out to dry.
Okay.
It looks like you could TP for your Shiv maybe. Shiv's really low.
I'm
You'll get a
TPing
heal.
for Shiv.
It's not bad
Okay.
to leave him solo lane, solo waves. Oh yeah, he's still low.
I'm coming, I'm coming, I'm coming, I'm coming.
Let's take out shit.
Watch this. I'm about to crank the hell out of him, skeleton.
I feel it.
You can't
Feel it.
stop this.
No! No, please. Okay, well,
Billy's in. Oh, never mind. He's not.
I didn't crank him.
I mean, he's won now. He has to leave, or you're
Oh wait, we can dive.
duo.
Wait, let's dive him. Let's dive him. Here to the tower.
He's in store.
Are we going? Where's my Billy at?
Sorry, I was catching the minions.
No, don't say sorry. Be better.
Knocked him out. Knocked him out.
Oh wait, he's. Okay. Wait, where's he at? Oh,
Surprise.
Big.
Close. Nice.
Oh yeah.
I didn't even know she had
Seven,
rebuttal.
He's in trouble.
I'm coming,
you,
Seven. Don't
Calico.
die. Oh, no problem. Seven, if you die, you're bad. Oh
Yeah,
no.
I can't not do that.
My bad, bro. That's on me, bro. You can hate me all you want, bro.
I'm not mad at you. You're good.
No,
You didn't do
please be
anything wrong,
mad.
She's killable. Kill her.
Death awaits.
All right, you know what? Yeah, I'm
getting
mad. You piece of shit. Colby.
Yo, that kills him. Buffs her up.
Shiv going for buff. Get that shit Calico. Oh, that motherfucker.
All right. See, I don't have as good of movement as you.
Ava's fine.
Why do they all have rebuttal?
How do they all have it?
They all have the. Okay. All right.
Vindicta going.
that's a check.
She got bridge buff. I think she
No,
might
it's
be
all
looking for
good,
snipe.
bro. It's all good.
doesn't
They
have it, I'm
just-
stupid.
Why are we buying rebuttal? Oh, I guess it is Vista's.
All right,
Billy.
I just got molested. Holy.
We're just kind of lit on yellow.
I mean, his name is Jeffrey Epstein.
Well, I
You know
shouldn't. I
what?
shouldn't go back to
That's
blue
a
here
very
because
valid-
my teammate's gone.
I think you should catch wave. That's better. I just mean once you're done, you throw the next target. I'm always moving to whoever's lowest.
That's valid. That's
On
valid.
map.
That's valid. I'm coming yellow.
Oh, they're both low, and you got ult. It's gonna be good.
Should better die.
And for my next trick, touch me.
All right. All according to plan, for real.
People.
Nice.
Thanks for your
Coming
help,
back blue.
Ava.
Don't die on me. I think we're looking all right.
Yeah, he lives.
These are your final moments.
No!
Aura farming.
Thunder. I believe. You see.
He's got all. Invicta's low on green.
Ooh,
That's those shit.
amazing map
I'll get
awareness.
into
I'm coming
position.
green.
Well, I can just keep looking at the map. I'm not playing.
W map. Push, 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 push. Go, go, go.
Guardian here, boy. I'm slowing hex for sure.
Ain't nobody scared of nothing. Okay? Don't worry, I'll catch you. I'll catch you.
Get up.
Ah, all according to my plan. Get the tower.
The cat dodge.
Lash is here?
Yep.
He's going back blue. He's going back
W
blue.
skeleton honey. Facts, macaw. Macaw.
I see
This count is not emissary. Get that Vin build real quick. Is that bad Vin build?
Swing by anytime.
All right. Looking pretty dandy. Do you ever go for sinners or tier 2 camps, or do you just box and kill?
I would never
Headed to
take tier
York.
2 camps. I would take sinners though. If they're sitting up, I would. I think there should be enough farm between the sinners and the boxes to basically never take camps, unless you're like actually 100 off an item.
Okay. I thought she would have punched me there. I thought she would have punched me there. I'm having. Ooh.
The shadows call, and I answer.
Woo. Looking pretty dandy. Looking pretty darn tootin'.
Vindicta going blue? No, she's in our secret shop.
Let's go for a walk, Ava.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. We're really getting active over here.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh.
Thought I had enough of something.
You
Wait, how
made
many points
space,
is
that's
that?
good.
Is that eight? I think. Oh, I think I would have had more slashes if I.
Yeah, and
that's why I
you
was playing that
probably would've had
aggressive.
one or two more.
But it's all good. We're looking dandy. Well, I was literally about to go
I
for
mean,
it.
even if you had 3 more slashes, do you kill any of them?
I could lash.
Ava.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe you just barely kill him, yeah.
Mm-hmm,
I could concede if you had 3 more slashes, you might barely killed him.
And that's more healing too, because the 2 heals.
True.
Come on, think about
True,
it.
you'd have like 200 more health.
Come
That's kinda
on,
fire.
come on, think about it.
That's like 4 page bullets or something like that. That's kind of crazy, right?
Come
I think
on.
you kill all 3, low key. 3 slashes, 3 more kills. I see it.
Exactly. Now we're thinking. Let's go. You kill him, right? What are we doing? We scared? Be honest.
Throwing it blue.
Vindicta's coming.
Holy, she's always got a lasso for this guy. Uh-oh. Oh, that's huge. That was fucking hard.
Based conviction.
What a goober. Why would you ever ult that? Probably because you ain't living. Probably because you ain't living. Well, Lashes here almost has. Oh.
Maybe just kill the tower.
Let's kill this tower.
I see Lash.
Perfect, perfect.
Time to move.
Perfect, perfect.
You know, Lash is about to get all big.
Wait, why are you coming for me when you did the thing on the other person? I'm not doing nothing wrong.
Green and yellow probably needs saving.
Defend green.
A green walker is under attack.
I'm coming green. Let's fight him. I'll be there in like 5 seconds.
Yeah, I'm gonna go yellow.
4, 3. Never mind. I'm going this way. Getting juked.
Let's take out Shiv.
Let's see if they're prepared for
low.
this.
Our yellow walker is under attack.
Can you fall down, please?
Let's dance.
I'm just gonna pull him back onto the roof.
Whatever, bro. I like
Warden's
to
coming,
fight
Warden's
people
coming.
on the ground level.
He's half.
I've been staring at the
Nice.
roofs like that many times.
You've been doing that? You've been
Last
doing
year, but he's
that?
backing up.
Oh yeah.
I'm not jumping up, bro.
Calico
I'm waiting.
supports us from the shadows. The
Okay.
spirit urn is waiting to be claimed.
Let me see a crazy lasso.
Lasso's almost ready.
Would you take a tier
Maybe
1
do
cat?
boxes? No, never.
Really? Okay, okay. Interesting. Never.
You should be
anything.
getting more boxes, I think.
Okay,
You
okay.
haven't been in the
Yes, sir. I'll
tunnels
do
yet
it.
at all.
I haven't at all. You're right. You're right. I haven't done that. I just been rotating the kills. I'm
I
so
mean, yeah,
poor.
there's been lots of fighting, and you've been getting lots of kills, so that's not bad. But
What's up, Jiggleberry? Yeah, 200 more health. That's a singular. Yeah. Dude, we're literally good though.
They could be coming for me any minute now. Time to go spoil myself.
Why is he still full HP? What are we doing? Why is he still full HP? It's doing no damage. I forgot if he had. Oh.
he does, I think.
Oh. Oh.
Nah, that character's not fair. He did 400 damage to you running away.
Yeah, did you see Cyberpunk Edge Season 2 trailer? I'm so hyped. I didn't see the trailer. I didn't even like Edge Runners as much as most people. There's only 10 episodes. I couldn't get attached. Looks 10 times more depressing. Thank you for the likes on YouTube. Keep up the likes. Boxes, boxes, boxes. Sinners, sinners, sinners. Boxes and
There's the
sinners.
boxes, yeah. I might take like 2 camps, like 1 camp every 10 minutes at most. Like really, basically never.
Looking to make a statement.
Okay.
These are your final moments.
I now have my gun spike at 14 minutes. Is that good?
Uh huh.
It's interesting. So so maybe.
You just lost yourself a follower for saying that and gained yourself a certainty for death.
I lost myself a follower because I said I didn't like Edge Runners. Are we serious, bro? I'm sorry. You feel that way.
She's under attack.
But that's just my
Spirit
truth.
scaling just isn't very good.
That is really true.
It's not
Take
bad
out
later
Lord.
when you got tier 3 glooms and then the alt resets your glooms. You know, when you throw 14
Yeah,
gloom
we get-
bombs in 4 seconds, that's not bad. But
Yeah.
3 near mid.
She couldn't even charge her.
Yeah, that
I mean, she
tier
just
2
went
ult
less
is
than
just really good.
Maybe we have the private island.
You may want to get back
Yeah,
to the
for
group.
real.
Oh.
Oh, I got last.
Let's push blue.
It's really good.
The entire team's here.
I'm coming, yellow.
Yeah, I'm low-key leaving that.
Bruh.
leave that. he's
Oh,
dead.
you had such a big bag.
Movement. Movement.
Walker is under attack.
Well, you missed.
Oh, nice try.
Totally. The master of the left hook.
Don't let
Oh,
them
we're losing
deliver
green. What's happening?
A green walker is under attack.
Someone's using their noodle.
Venator. What's happening?
It's time.
As always, just coming back. We edging
Are we
now?
fighting this urn or what are we doing here?
A little stroll. Time to earn my
We
keep.
could, but there's only 2 of us and 4 of them. Probably back out. To be honest.
I'm here, but
Yeah, just push blue. Just push blue.
Your Venator's pretty strong though.
Oh, already left.
They claim the earth.
Flash is
Yeah,
half, no ult.
Nice.
Cut and Lash is so awesome.
Oh, he's fighting. Okay. I thought he was.
Nice. He was getting greedy.
They don't know what to do. There's more than one person. People don't know how to handle the melees, man.
I just mean, like, why is Vindicta
Why was she right there?
Like, what the fuck is she thinking?
He's just running straight into fisticuffs. Oh. Crashing out over 7.58. Way out of 810 anime facts. It's not. I don't even think that's that. Have you ever seen Edge Runners? Skeleton, you seen that?
I don't mind.
Dear.
I think it's alright.
What would you say is like your top 3 animes of all time?
I read more than I watch lately. But,
A lot of veterans have switched to the mangas.
yeah, they're usually just better. But
Yeah.
Attack on Titan's pretty good. I prefer the anime. There's some bits and pieces in the manga that you miss out on, but
Okay.
it's just not super well drawn, so it's definitely more epic to watch.
Okay.
The spirit urn is
Yeah, I've never really read manga, and I've been watching anime since I was like 5 years old.
I have a
I
boost for
just
this
didn't
round.
know.
I used to do a lot more. I used to watch way more, but I just started reading. I got older.
Thanks for your help,
You
Abe.
think going and fighting with $800 is good?
No,
Ready to have some fun.
but this is a pretty big earn, so I think you have to go anyway, unfortunately.
When they buff and ball.
All right. Do I have a
Might-
boost?
You could maybe tempo by point blank here. That'd be good.
All right.
Yeah. Good marketing
We're
for
not
now.
gonna
You
be
just
there,
don't want to drop that much money.
Well, they already got it, and we are dying. Yeah, I'm just a little slow. That's all it is, really. Oh well.
Venator's Venator's the big boy this game. Well, press tab. Is he getting kills? Yeah. Okay. I'd play on him. He's gonna be the guy that's. If you work with him, you should get
Vindicta's
some
like one
kills.
shot. You should be able to kill her.
I missed literally everything, but it still worked.
Catching
They got tier 2 ult.
Yeah, hang out with your Venator. He's fucking strong.
Right.
Like after the mid game, I usually just follow around whoever my strongest teammate is, and then I get kills with them.
That makes sense. Oh wait, I was just about to do the tier 2 camp. There's boxes.
There's so many boxes.
I hear a
The
page.
boxes
I'll
should
get
be
into
up.
position.
All the tunnel boxes should be up because there's nobody else to invade them.
Mm-hmm. Oh. Ooh. Celestial.
It's time to play.
Holy.
Nice.
I'll be taking that.
This is even easier than I expected.
Sinners. Tokyo Ghoul, the best manga of
There
all
are
time.
3 or 4
Really,
on
better than Berserk.
this.
Let's push green.
They said what was the best?
Tokyo
Little
Ghoul.
stroll.
I really want to read that one. I don't know if it's better. Is it better than Berserk?
Let's take out Shiv.
Probably not, but it sounds pretty good. I keep thinking about reading it too.
Oh, you've never read it either?
No.
Okay, I keep coming to this side and there's nothing here.
I think they just respawned.
Jeffrey Epstein just got diddled. Holy.
Yeah, do you not do very many boxes?
I do a little bit, probably not as much as you because of the the extra $200 per kill, and I just keep getting kills the extra $200. And I'm pretty rich.
I would like to see your graphs, see how much money you actually make off the splash.
Ooh, that's a
Does
good.
it separate?
I don't know. I don't really look at the graph of money. I just gauge how rich I am by how much more money than everybody else have. Come on, you know you wanna.
Yeah, so it looks like your team's kind of passive
Someone
right
was
now.
here. They just left the secret
This is
shot.
when I would do more
We're
boxes.
gonna shove
Because
this
it's
way
like
then.
the enemy's got nothing to do because your team is doing nothing. So if you start fighting somebody,
Buddy's to
unless
our
you insta-kill them, they're
I
gonna
don't
show
have
up.
ult yet,
I think it's Lash. She's on the ceiling.
True, true.
Fine,
Yeah,
so
let's
that's
do it.
Get into position.
Wagon by Arctic.
I
Arctic!
love getting ulted.
2 on green side.
Maybe I should have said that Warden was rotating.
They're in
I would have
mid.
heard that though. Wait, somebody else.
Appreciate the help.
York is under attack.
I'm grabbing green.
I'll be the last.
Oh,
you see.
wait, that was
Chasing
bad.
too
That was,
hard on that.
yeah, you're right. That's on my bad. Ole, I missed everything there. Not in front of Skeleton, honey. No, no, he's shaking his head.
To meet my head. Oh yeah, it does separate it and it'll tell you how much extra money you make.
Okay. Yoshi online? I mean, is he typing? Certified boof? I read like 60-ish chapters of Berserk way before, so I can't comment on that.
Let's see if
Well,
I
then
can
you
catch
just
this.
don't know. You just don't fully, you know.
Berserk's pretty freaking good. It's popular for a good
Have you ever read
reason.
JoJo's?
I haven't read any of the JoJo's.
Oh, you haven't watched
don't-
it either?
No.
Dude, come on.
I know, I should. I did the JoJo thumbnail. Did you see that one?
I didn't see that.
I'll
Like-
send it to you.
The streets are
You posted a video with JoJo's thumbnail recently? Is that what you said?
Well, like I drew one that was like a JoJo.
And all of your
the
thumbnails
JoJo
are-
poses.
I go well.
See, like that, I don't think I hit it with my own right there. Woo!
Nice.
They got the urn again. Okay.
They're down Lash. They cannot fight this right.
No, I might all of unstoppable too if they go for this urn. I doubt
We
they
need
do
to
it.
just let Viscous shove in yellow and keep pressuring green.
I did watch your video with XQC yesterday. That was interesting.
It's acting a little bit foolish.
Oh, please. If I had another 2 right now. Oh, please. There it is. 12 more seconds. 12 more seconds.
See, on the other hand, if you had it right there, you wouldn't even got the cooldown. That's the I don't know. I don't know. It's just I don't know. It was good in the past when the scaling was really good. It's
Yeah,
just like
yeah.
I don't know.
XQC is like carried Eternus, bro. He was E1 in your game. Like, how was he in an E6 game? Very interesting.
Apparently he got carried by a bunch of other streamers or something. I
I
don't
saw
know.
he was playing with Vegas like 5 days
Yeah,
ago.
apparently that's the thing that happened. Yeah, what are my favorite anime mangas? I like Chainsaw Man.
Yeah. Okay, don't spoil anything. But my brother said that one was like phenomenal. Like he was comparing that to Solo Leveling, and he was like, both of those have really hype moments. But like the hype moment in Chainsaw Man is like way bigger, but then it like plummets way harder.
I don't
you agree
know.
with
Like
that?
I read all of Solo Leveling, and I had Don Toliver playing the whole time, so it's like it was kind of like I was watching one long YouTube short.
Oh, this is
It's
going
like
to be
permanent hype and horrible. But I don't know. It was like I don't know.
Solo sleeping. Holy.
I was low key. I was sleeping.
What?
I mean, he just doesn't lose.
My brother made me sign a petition for that manga in like 2017 or 2018. That's how hyped he was about that to get an anime. was like, there's no way. My brother's never told me to sign a petition for an anime before.
I mean, I think as far as products of that kind go, like just a compilation of hype and aura moments, like it's
I
pretty
deserve
good,
the
but
best.
I don't know. I wouldn't. I don't think about it. I'm not like, oh, this is like a life-changing experience. Yeah, that extra health bar is kind of nuts.
Oh, I didn't even
What
do that part.
the fuck?
Yeah. Wait,
Why'd
you never
get
done
extra
that?
health there, though?
Because I'm getting Colossus for extra melee damage and resistance.
Okay, okay.
If I'm going out on my own, I need to keep my wits about me.
Whoa! I mean you no harm.
I see warning.
Wait, go for it.
Oh dear.
Wait.
No, you can fight. I think instead of Colossus, there's gonna be something to think about
What
as
the
well.
And for my next
Don't hit me.
Where
Wait,
were you
I'm
taking
trolling.
him?
Where the hell is yo? What are we doing?
Needs evac.
I hold myself to the highest standard.
Get away from me.
Let's
Are
take
we
out
doing
the
mid boss?
victims.
Thoughts?
Your team is grateful for the work you've been doing.
That guy is
go
pissed.
Raiders,
What's up,
son.
Dill? If you're in
Raiders,
best
dude.
anime,
Follow your
don't
boy.
at me. That's so wrong. But what? You said mid?
Yeah, follow your boy. Victor. Venator's still like
Oh,
the
Ash
guy.
is gonna rush here probably.
think,
ADHD brain. I
just
completely
that.
forgot that
Oh wait, hold up. You're the guy.
I'm the one.
He's gotta follow you.
Follow me, team. I will lead you to victory.
I believe in you.
Thanks.
if you can.
I would recommend going Scourge here. I don't know if you even need more survivability.
Melee damage?
I mean, yeah, you could, but I just mean I
you're the
feel
coach.
like-
You're the coach. You're the coach.
Okay, you might as well get Colossus.
I mean, you already said it. You already said Scourge. It came out of your mouth.
Scourge is just like really OP. It's like the late game Calico item right now.
Let me see. Let me see it.
So I
Let me
think
see
it's
it in
not a
action.
bad thing to buy.
Mind to prowl.
Especially against the like Warden Lash and the Shiv. Is he cranking them?
No!
Uh-oh.
All right.
Holy shit.
I was too exposed. It's okay.
Thank you for
I feel like my ultimate didn't do damage right there.
I'll get into position.
Let's take out Vindicta.
Got a billion shields. Wow, I can't believe
Example
you
out of
faced
another one.
Oh!
It's just too bad.
Reloading.
Pull back.
I missed on purpose. Wow!
There's a catch mid soon.
All right. I'm so bad, bro. It's so bad. Yeah, he parried all day.
The other reason that I think Scourge is good here is because their spirit damage is really, really high. Colossus gives you some resist as well.
Yeah,
but,
40. They do have a lot of spirit. You might be onto something here. Okay. I feel like I need to move Scourge up, actually. I feel like Scourge is really good. I don't know why it's all the way... it's left to right on importance. And I thought Echo Shard with, the extra melee Gloom Bombs was just, really good. I think it's because I don't like active items. That's the real reason why it's so low.
They're annoying for sure. And you have to self-cast Scourge, which is even worse.
You weren't even a little sneaky. Kind of was just standing right next to to the zip line, wasn't I? MVP outgoing. Maybe you should stay in Oracle, holy.
Scourge is just the new, Torment Pulse, basically.
Yep.
Lasts for 10 seconds, dude. It's crazy.
That is crazy. 40%
But
I don't think we've gotten a single urn this entire game.
no.
Not a single one. Nice. Very good. Hold on, let's see something. Oh, that's a good barrel. Oh, that's another good barrel and a good headshot.
Oh my gosh.
I'm coming, Billy.
Warden's super low if you can try to catch him off guard. He's going deeper in. Just kill him.
He's really deep.
Get that bitch. Save her,
I'm trying to see the amazingness of Scourge.
Surprise.
I'm running.
Wow.
Well then. Boo, 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 boo. Where you going? Where you, wait, holy mo! See, if I was Skeleton Honey, I'd keep up to him. And now he's laughing at me. Now he's laughing at me. Wait.
The Venator fights with fervor.
All right. Okay, what would you get next?
Probably cooldown would be nice here.
Cooldown. Okay.
Bought that off of Knickerbocker that was about to get his legs broken.
Like Transcendent cooldown? Phantom Strike. Nah, I'm listening to my coach. Calico, I'm not getting Colossus. My coach said,
Like,
not that.
I think when you're strong like this, doing cooldown's not bad because like your full combos are annihilating people, so you just want to have them more often.
They will deliver.
Fair.
I mean, Colossus is still not a bad buy. I'd probably get that over Transcendent cooldown right now. You don't have that many actives that are important, but once you get Colossus, you will. Boxes are worth so much fucking money right now, by the way.
Okay, let me go do boxes. I'll do
They're
those.
like 80 each or something, right?
Let's go for a little
I
stroll.
don't even know. I don't even know. How often I do boxes? Got 0.
Well, it's just like
91.
you're the only one that's gonna be able to take
91?
them. There's no Ram, there's no Mo. Like all the boxes are always gonna be up down here. Right, you should go mid from here.
Yes, sir.
Those ones aren't bad. There's 3 golden statues in there. It's not bad to go do that, but
They could be coming for me any minute now.
Are these boxes also 3 minutes?
No, these are the only ones that spawn at 10 minutes, but they replenish every 3 minutes.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, they respawn.
Yeah. So I mean, like you should. I always look for these. If I clear them at like 10 minutes, I come back at 13 minutes all the time.
Not gonna lie, I don't think in the past month, I don't think I've ever done the
4 on green. 4 on green.
I might be trolling.
Okay. Well, that would give you so much value. That would get you like, okay, for example, like
They're zipping, they're zipping,
boxes
they're
gave you like 1,000 souls, right? That's getting
Box up
5
like
kills with your tier 2 slash.
Okay. You might be onto something here.
You can get Colossus.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, you're cranking with the melee, so you might
I can smell Lash's hubris from here.
Headed this way.
This is mad items.
I got
get your
something for
scourge
all
going.
of
Get
ya.
your scourge going.
Mid boss.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, he's got the cinematic view.
It all worked out. It all worked. It's all working out. We're working. Ouch. Get it. Please. Oh, I'm better than you. You know, if I just like used my abilities at I used Colossus and then an Arctic Blast, pressed 1 and ulted. I might be terrible with active items. Not gonna lie.
Well, you killed enough people that you need to switch for free. I think that's perfect.
The rejuvenator is descending.
The GTA 2 POV. Oh my god, bro. Okay, next is cooldown. Right?
Yeah, Transcendent wouldn't be bad here. I would also, if you're getting in, I don't get enduring speed usually. I would recommend
It's gonna be
you can
hard.
just get Fleetfoot instead. Like if you're gonna sit on enduring speed this whole time, you might as well just get Fleetfoot. I think Fleetfoot's better than enduring. No, not right now. I just mean if you're. Oh no! Oh,
I'm just listening to my coach here.
I just mean in your build order. I feel like with trophy collector, I feel like I'm usually quick enough most of the time.
Okay. Well,
I'm just saying
actually,
it's
you
an
might be
option.
onto something here.
You
Actually,
could maybe move it up, and that'd be more
Yeah.
weapon invest. It'd be more melee damage.
you're absolutely right. But I wouldn't get my 4.8 green spike here.
True. I usually get green last. I usually get purple and orange first. But if you're meleeing more, it might be more important to get it sooner. Here, let's see what. I'm gonna look at what I would get.
I'm down for the fleet foot, actually. More movement speed, and I can heavy melee cancel. First camp I'm taking all game.
Catch me if you
Okay,
can.
Big A not frugal with his money. Bro, I'm rich.
Vindicta.
I'm Rick James. Are we going in, boys?
She's losing flight soon, I think.
I see Vindicta.
Well, I preempted.
This Celestin lane.
I see Red.
Maybe you got her. You knocked her.
Hopefully. It's just that my teammates are with me.
Easy bait. Easy fucking bait.
Get in there! I didn't mean to put that on her, by the way.
Reach your end.
Don't go running off on me.
Press 4! Oh, he does that every time.
Page behind you.
Where you going?
Let's see if they're prepared for this.
Nap.
This really the best you got?
Blue needs help.
W skirts. I want to see how much damage it did at the end of this game.
They represent this.
This does so much.
I put this here.
5% max health.
Get objective damage for MVP. I may just have it. I have 23 assists and 15 kills.
Only one of you
What's the game plan?
Be right back.
Nah, Holiday. It would be nuts if you played with the Vindicta OTP and had her put Scourge on you. Is there any other items I should buy currently?
Yeah, you're kind of running out of things to get. You could get Juggernaut if you have Enduring. If you really, I think Vindicta's the only person that's really Vindicta and Warden. Remover would also be really good. It seems like the two things that are scary right now is the Silence Cage and the bullets that some of these characters are shooting. So,
Okay.
Remover would be good.
Okay.
Remover
there's two people
Juggernaut
there.
would be good.
Okay. What would I sell for Remover or Dispel?
Your team have a bunch of heal veins.
No.
It's probably not bad to keep yours. So then I'd probably get rid of Trophy Collector right before this next fight.
Get rid of Trophy Collector.
See
Let's
if
do
they're
it!
prepared for this.
Remover's big, actually, if you can get Remover.
Okay. Now I'm gonna have
Dispel
4
Magic, sorry.
active items.
Protection goes a
Chat.
long way.
I may accidentally Alt F4 in the process of trying to click all these buttons.
Oh,
But we
shit.
shall see.
5,000 health.
No!
Let them know. Let them know he doesn't even need it.
Yo, I can't.
Holy.
I can't use actives, man. 4
Okay.
actives is
You have to catch
crazy.
a lot of super mini waves here. You could just force in. Like we'd have one of our damage.
Okay,
Oh, yeah,
it
we
is a
probably
learning
should wait
curve,
for the
Ace.
mid.
I avoided actors
I
for
can
a
fry.
long
Yeah, I can go.
time.
No, don't too scared.
Mid soon.
Why your fingers are alt to begin with? That's how you level up abilities, dude. Let's do some boxes, waste some time.
They're 110 each.
Come on, that's so much money. That clips my ability. Well, that's just incorrect. Shouldn't be doing that one.
Let's go for a walk.
We go forward, boys.
Hell yeah.
gonna push
the W's. Let's get it.
To be claimed.
Show me something, Holiday. Show me something. Show me something. She's not showing me anything. It's weird.
She's gonna show ya.
Holy shit.
Careful about Lash.
Thanks for your help, Ava.
Let me see something, Billy. I don't think Holiday's doing anything.
I'm slowly getting them.
Oh, man.
No.
Oh,
I killed him.
Lay.
I got ulted. I cleansed. I cleansed it.
Good. Yes.
I did it. All right. GG's.
GG's.
Well, Holiday may have got it.
That was fun.
Nah, no way. No way. More kills, more assists has gotta be you. It's gotta be.
Oh,
I really
oh, I did it. I literally did it. Holy.
Drop the nuke.
It's like Skeleton Honey is the best coach ever on Calico.